This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.
Be honest. When's the last time you had a homemade meal? We get it. Between meetings, workout classes, and the kids' after-school sports, who's got time to cook? That's where HelloFresh comes in. No matter how busy you get, HelloFresh has everything you need to get an easy, home-cooked meal on the table. With flavor-packed recipes like Parmesan herb-crusted salmon, you'll be filling your kitchen with the cozy aromas of a homemade meal in no time. So go ahead, try HelloFresh. It's homemade, made easy. Learn more at HelloFresh.com.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. Sometimes the most painful part of getting sick is the getting better part. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's painful. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove those painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon One Medical, healthcare just got less painful.
Hi, Happy New Year. Happy 2025 to everyone.
I can't believe those words just came out of your mouth, 2025. It feels insane. I feel like the pandemic was just yesterday, and we're looking at like 5 years ago now.
It's insane to think that I am this old. And I don't feel old, but just look at the number that I see on my driver's license. Like, the birth date is a little startling.
It's starting to get startling. I was thinking about that the other day where it's like you kind of have to catch your breath a little bit when you realize, oh, I'm in a bit of a new group now of what people would say age category.
Oh, absolutely. I saw an ad on TikTok and it had the different generations. So it had boomers, it had Gen X, and it had millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. And they were just saying a snippet, like something to reference what the generation was like. And all the millennials looked old. They had gray hair.
Yeah. We're wearing it well, though. We are wearing it well.
Yeah, we look good, but it was how I always pictured Gen X. And now Gen X is looking like boomers physically.
Yes, especially the older ones. And boomers, a lot of them are looking like our grandparents did. And it's bittersweet, though, because it is such a beautiful thing to go on in life. And if you do process each stage of life well, Erickson, if I'm going to go into my psychology background, Erickson shows and tells us that by the time that it's your time to go, or you have got to a very elderly stage, you should be kind of okay being at that stage. So just being present in each stage, which is actually, by the way, something that I'm going to be working on in therapy, I think is really cool, just as a side thing with all the other things. And I'm kind of excited for that. Just learning and working on being present, because I'm so tired of feeling like the day started and then I blink and it's over. And maybe I didn't get everything done, or maybe I did, but it feels like it just slipped through my fingers. So that's the only way I can describe it. So I'm going to be working on that. But that brings me to actually a really great point of how quickly, and they always do, the holidays went by this year.
Literally, speaking of being present, I feel like I wasn't present for the holidays. It just happened so quickly. My schedule was so booked that I just feel like I didn't get to enjoy it the way I typically do. And I'm one that does embrace holidays most of the time. I try to enjoy and be in the moment and do activities that are of the season, just because who knows when I'll be able to do it again. Who knows if the people in my life right now will be here in the future, whether they choose to leave or they leave because they pass away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nodding so hard right now.
Yeah. I think that's a really positive mindset to have in 2025. I don't want to call it a goal, because I feel like goals sound like either they're attainable or they're not. But having this positivity really can be a mindset. It's like a shift that you're going to be working on. So I really love that.
Yeah, just being present and neutral, really. Honestly, I'll even use that word. Even if you're not enjoying per se or having a horrible time and want to hurry up and get out of something, like let's just say, like, let's say it's work, like you're looking forward to getting home. It's just being there, being present and kind of soaking it in. Because I tell my students this all the time when it comes to college. You never get this time back. I know this is frustrating, but let's do this or that. Or if they're wanting to explore something, I'll say, yeah, it's going to take you a little bit more time because you would like to explore that, or you would also like to earn this. However, this is your time of learning. So this is a great time to do it, even though it may add another year onto your college life. But those are the discussions I'm having with them, right? So I think that I should also apply some of that to whatever stage of life I'm in instead of thinking so much about the past, because I will get trapped by nostalgia. I really will.
It's easy to get trapped by the future as well, planning and looking forward to what is to come rather than embracing what's now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the past and the future are very similar in that way, where we can get stuck in this circular thought of what will be coming up or what has happened already, rather than saying like, well, this is now and let's just live what's happening right now.
Right. And that's where that gratitude and grounding work comes in. It's not to be toxically positive, because as you and I both know, toxic positivity does exist. It's more about what am I appreciating about the right now? Because obviously there will always be things that we want, things that we are challenged with. So it's more about like what is great about right now. So I'll keep you posted on all the tools that I get, but we're working on some other things, but that one is on the list. And I'll tell you what I feel like right now, because we're talking about the holidays and what's to come and been in the past. What I feel like right now is that meme of it's a very light colored bear, but I believe it is a brown bear or a grizzly bear. And it's coming out of hibernation and it has massive bed head. It is hilarious. I'm going to post that picture, our Patreon, as soon as we're done recording, because it is hilarious. So if you want to see what I'm talking about, if you haven't seen it, go to our Patreon.
I mean, that bear looks like he had a rough night, honestly.
Rough. And did you know that, yeah, they sleep a lot and like their heart rate goes down and stuff, but like it's interesting. It's more of like a change of lifestyle for the winter, if you will, as opposed to like, oh, they're knocked out for months. Like I grew up thinking they were like in a coma for 3 months.
Well, that's kind of what we were sold, right?
Yeah.
They hibernate for winter. They go tuck in their little cave and they come out when the flowers are sprouting and spring has sprung. But really, it's just they're slowing down and embracing a slower way of life.
I feel like we need to do that as humans for like 1/4 of the year. Let's have a slower pace of life. We give ourselves maybe a month. I think we need longer.
Well, you know what's funny? I feel like winter is such a perfect time to do that.
It is.
But for us in the Northern Hemisphere, that's when all the holidays are. So there is no slowing down. It almost speeds up. And then we get a week of maybe hibernation mode, between Christmas and New Year's. But to me, that time usually drags by. This year, it went by so fast. I didn't have enough time.
Yeah, there's never enough time, honestly. And it's interesting that you bring up the difference between Northern and Southern Hemisphere and how our seasons are different, because my cousin just moved a few months ago to Australia. And she is living near the capital and enjoying life very much so. But I was texting her, how are you feeling? And she was a little bit down, adjusting to the difference in what the holidays felt like. My Australians, my Kiwis, we don't mean that it's worse to have the holidays in summer. It's just that it was an adjustment, much like maybe somebody from, say, Sydney or Perth going to New England, moving to Boston and experiencing a very cold, very snowy holiday.
It's a culture shock.
Right. You're not going to have what do they call them in Australia? They're pabs. They're like a really light, cool dessert, like meringue based dessert. It's almost like an open face macaron, if you will.
That sounds tasty.
It looks pretty tasty. It's like a baked meringue.
Sounds like it's whipped or something. I love meringues. They're my favorite.
Yeah. So like think of a macaron shell. And then you put whipped topping, fruit, whatever you kind of want on top like that. I'm no expert. I am not Aussie, but that's what Kiwis and Aussies both enjoy, to the point where there's a little bit of lore where Kiwis think that they invented it and Aussies think they invented it, but they both enjoy it. And it's kind of like a fun rivalry. But I got into it from, thank you, TikTok. I am on that app way too much for it to disappear. I'm so sad. And that was interesting. And it's like, yeah, to them, that tastes like the holidays, a nice, cool, chilled, fruity dessert. They're in cute summer clothes, enjoying outside time with family, whereas we are indoor fireplaces and things like that. Why everybody gets sick, right? Because we're all huddled around. And so it's just that it was an adjustment for her. So it's very interesting after having that conversation with my cousin and what she was feeling and experiencing during her first holidays down there, that it was hard to adjust. I think that's the exact words she used. It's been an adjustment celebrating holidays in summer. And obviously her family, the rest of her family and her parents and everybody are still here. But she's always worked with animals, and that's where work and life was taking her and her husband. So I'm very proud of her. I can't wait to visit, although I don't have it booked, or planned or anything like that.
Hey, 2025 is the year.
Maybe. I don't know. I have too many. I've got a 10-year wedding anniversary.
Tim and I were talking about too, like, where are we going this year for our 10-year anniversary?
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, Natalie and I got married like a week apart.
Same year.
In the same year. So we experienced a lot of those milestones around the same time. So yeah, it's 10 years. So I don't know what to do. I kind of want to redo our honeymoon. I don't know.
I thought you were going to say your vows.
Oh no, I teased Randall. He was like, what? That to me. And I mean no harm to anybody that has done this and it didn't mean this. Of course, there's always going to be exceptions. But I feel like anytime I've seen like reality stars, celebrities renewing their vows, right? Like they'll have like a whole season. So-and-so and so-and-so are renewing their vows. The next season or two down the road, divorce.
I feel like that's typical for reality TV relationships in general, though.
In general, yeah. Yeah, true.
I can't think of many that have survived being on reality TV.
It's got to be hard, and you are giving up so much of your life and, to be honest, a little bit of your dignity.
Oh, all of your dignity.
Yeah, you have to understand. We know it now, but you got to understand people are producing scenes and they're producing storylines, both producers that work for the network and the cast members. Because if the cast members don't have a storyline, they might get booted from the show. That's just how it is. You got to pull in the ratings. You just have to pull in the viewership. And if you don't, unfortunately, you can lose your job. I heard people talk about this at Vanderpump Rules, where they will unfortunately take a hit on a friendship just to have them film a certain conversation about something private in that person's life that they would never want on camera, because they know it's going to bring in the viewership and it's going to bring in a fight and it's going to bring in something interesting they're talking about.
They have to sell their soul a little bit.
They sell their soul at the expense of relationships. So why wouldn't a marriage be different? You're so right.
I mean, they sell their soul for fame and fortune. I mean, and how much is that fortune? They're not making as much as maybe the original reality stars either. So I don't know if it would even be worth it to me.
Money does not buy happiness.
No.
So as long as I'm comfortable, I hope that any opportunities that ever present themselves, I hope that, well, it is very difficult to turn money down, but even sponsorships, we haven't really been totally for. We have been like, oh, like, no, thank you. I wouldn't use this product, or someone in my life wouldn't use it unless we or someone in our life could use it. Like, we both don't have children. So if we're doing something for children, like I've talked to my sister-in-law about one of the products we've done before, and they had a family friend that was using it. So she was interested in it. Like, it has to be something like that that's worth it, or that at a minimum we think is really cool and we would use it if we had kids, or if it doesn't fit into our life, we have to want to use it.
Or if we think our nieces or nephews would be interested in it.
Yeah.
I feel like as active aunts, we have a perspective that would be beneficial for a brand like that, but it isn't our typical, partnership that we would pick.
And the money's just, it's not worth lying to you guys, our listeners,
When we were with our other network, at one point, they had an advertiser that wanted us to market their literal weed company. It was like clumps of weed on their website. And we had to say, no, like, that's not our brand. And this is so far from what we would ever promote. We don't have a problem with people who smoke or whatever, but it just didn't align with anything that we stand for.
Right.
In terms of like, what if a family saw that and they didn't want to work with us and therefore we weren't able to help out with coverage for this case?
Feels disingenuous because we support cannabis and we support CBD and oils, gummies, whatever. But if we don't smoke and we wouldn't smoke, we don't want to feel trapped trying to pretend that we did or we would. If we had somebody in our life that did, we'd be like, hey, here, try it. Let us know. And we take that as the user experience that would be needed for sponsorship. But we didn't have anyone smoking.
That's what I was actually going to say. Obviously, we said no. It wasn't even something that was considered, but would they have sent us stuff for user experience? I don't know. Is that something that can be mailed? I mean, it must be since they had a website.
Yeah, probably. But that's interesting because it isn't legal in every state. So see, these are the questions that start to come up where we're just like, we can't mess with it. But luckily we're in California where it is legal in many different forms. So it's fine.
We didn't have to worry about any of those logistics because, like we said no. But that's an example. I would say, I think we've had...
we had hair stuff that we were like, we don't really like the claims that are being made.
You're saying all the good ones. I was thinking of like personal toys.
Oh, did we have that?
Yeah, that was like an option. That was also one we just felt like it didn't fit the brand.
Posey was barking her head off. So we had to take a quick break just so she's not barking in all of your ears. But this girl, man, when she gets barking at a squirrel or she's chasing a lizard, those are her two favorite things. Man, it's very hard to get her back to normal when she gets to 1,000. She is just a little herder and that's her. But that reminds me, she is currently being voted on by America's Favorite Pet. I submitted some pictures and they invited us to be part of their competition for, I think it's $10,000 and being on the cover of a magazine. So we'll see.
Oh my God. Congratulations. Just to even be considered. That's exciting.
Yeah. So everybody can vote. I have it linked on my Instagram and then I shared it from mine to the Murder Diaries.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't been on Instagram all day today, so I haven't seen anything, but I am going to go vote after this.
Yeah.
You guys should go vote too. When does it close?
I think the first cut is in a week and a half.
Okay, so these listeners have time.
Yes.
Because I think this comes out on the 13th.
Please go vote. And I'm sure if she makes this cut, there'll be another cut. I will keep you guys posted on that. Want to give you another Kitty Andrew update. This one's really great. The wires are officially removed from his jaw.
For those that may be new, Kitty Andrew is Paige's cat nephew.
Yeah.
And he was attacked by a human and had to have extensive surgery.
Yeah. It's so awful. They really don't 100% know what happens, but the vet did confirm that the injuries were not consistent with like getting hit by a car, that it was definitely seemed like blunt force trauma, likely human intentionally inflicted. Unfortunately, his jaw was broken in two places. It was touch and go there for about 48 hours. And then he did survive and they wired his jaw. And it's been a slow but good progression. And he's doing really, really well. So his moms are taking really good care of him. He is so lucky that his owners are who they are. My sister-in-law does have an idea of what and who may have done it, but there's no way to prove, which is just so gross. And like, to hurt an animal, you really need to be like next level psycho. And the fact that there are so many people who do to a really drastic extent, like when I first got TikTok, it kept pushing those sob story videos and I had to push dislike because I couldn't have it on my feed anymore. Like, I know that we need to tune in to things that are happening and do better. But sometimes if I'm just like on TikTok,
the algorithm will feed you what you engage with and it'll bring up old stories and it's just trauma dumping on you.
Yeah.
This conversation is so relevant to the case we cover in the first week and the second week of January, the Murder Diaries, because one of the players in that case is a man who severely attacked animals and was a proponent of animal cruelty. So that was a challenging episode to cover too.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the oldest known things that animal abuse can be a precursor of murderous tendencies, especially of the serial nature.
It's true.
It's so gross, though. I don't know how you could hurt an animal. I could barely catch a fish. And I know people are like, well, do you eat animals? I have not eaten a mammal in 20 years. I don't know why the birds and the fish are a little bit easier for me to stomach in that way. I don't know. But hey, every switch, every meal that you have that's vegetarian or vegan makes a big difference, just even environmentally, whether or not you mind the animal passing for the meat. So I'm a big proponent of that. Plant-based stuff as replacements. I even used coconut milk in a really delicious batch of macaroni and cheese. Like, yeah, there's cheese, but I switched at least one dairy product.
How did it taste?
It was good. I don't mind coconut milk as long as it's not super duper coconutty.
It wasn't like vanilla coconut milk. That wouldn't have been tasty.
Unsweetened, like where it would probably be gross if you just tried to drink it. But if you're mixing it with seasonings and cheese, it's going to be delightful. So I play with those switches all the time, not only because it's easier to digest, but cheese, especially aged cheese, is going to have a lot less lactose. Like Parm barely has any lactose in it compared to a glass of heavy cream.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was in charge of the macaroni at Christmas this year. I think I told you this, but I don't know if I told our listeners. It was a hit. I made Teeny's macaroni and cheese, which went viral on TikTok. And I was like, okay, she's a chef. So because of that and it being viral, I'm going to try it. It was great. I made a couple different types to see like which recipe do I want to bring. I didn't grow up with macaroni at Christmas. We do like fancy holiday stuff. You're going to have nice tableware. You're going to have turkey or ham. Obviously, I don't do the ham. And, traditional sides that you could think of for Thanksgiving. That kind of carries over to Christmas oftentimes. Or we'll do it super Italian style. But either way, it's going to be really kind of done up. We do the fancy holiday thing. We dress a little nicer, that type of thing. And so I didn't grow up with macaroni and cheese, which is a little bit more of a casual dish, but I know a lot of people do, especially at Thanksgiving. It's like a hit. Did not grow up with that at Christmas or Thanksgiving. So my sister-in-law on my side, my brother's wife, started making it because my brother's kids really like it. And I have the same recipe as hers. It's yummy. And so we started getting used to it. So I told my brother this year, I was like, hey, what do you need me to bring to Christmas? And he's like, oh, you want to bring something? You gotta love older brothers, right? And I was like, yeah. And I just felt like I don't exchange gifts with my siblings. I've told you this. So it felt like a really nice way to kind of give to him and other siblings and family members in attendance to, make one of the pricier meals. Cheese is not cheap. And I bought all good quality cheese because I'm insane and I had to impress him. I told you I'm competitive with my brother. I don't know why, but we are. And so I had to buy all the good quality, everything, imported, high quality pasta, cavatappi, duh. So anyways, I made Teeny's recipe as a mock-up to try. And I was like, oh, this is good. Made it the second time, even better. And I'll call it a fancy-ish recipe. And then it has quite a few ingredients and seasonings. And the best part, and this is a little bit of my secret, but I'm going to give it to you guys. Even though a lot of people already do this, there's a lot of people who are like, put an egg in your macaroni, do this, do that. And it adds like a little special like touch. Well, in my family, I know, right? That is not what I do. But in my family, the recipe that we traditionally use has mustard powder or mustard if you don't have mustard powder in it. So when I saw that Teeny did that in this recipe, I was like, oh, this is going to fit in perfectly. So, yep, better believe there's a tablespoon of a really nice mustard in there, which obviously was also a nicer, pricier brown mustard. That was like stone ground. Very important to me what kind of mustard it is because I'm very picky with mustard. But so I just knew it was going to be good vibes and that my family was going to love it. I mean, people were raving. I'm not going to toot my own horn. Wait, maybe I am. We're raving. So if you need a good macaroni and cheese recipe, make Teeny's and don't skip the mustard. It cuts through kind of the fat a little bit because there's a lot of fat in the cream and there's a lot of fat in the cheese and butter. So to kind of cut through that with something that isn't salt is really nice. Plus, there's things you need in your recipes. You need salt, you need fat, you need heat and you need acid. So the mustard adds a tiny bit of heat and a little bit of acid. Delightful. Chef's kiss. And I just blabbered on.
I'm going to have to check that recipe out.
I can't believe just how long I just blabbered on about macaroni. People are probably so bored.
Well, okay, we can engage them because something that we've sort of touched on that has been going on in pop culture recently is the resurgence of the battle between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively in...
They're back at it.
Yeah. The whole "it ends with us" drama. It's now going to end in court because there's been lawsuits filed on both sides and things are getting even messier.
They're getting so messy. Like she messed with some text messages or deleted or changed them. I don't think you can change them that far down the road. Obviously, you can't edit after like 10 or 15 minutes. So I think she deleted them or something. I haven't been keeping up because I'm done with them. I'm bored of them.
They edited them in the paperwork that was presented. So initially she filed a complaint. It wasn't a lawsuit. And it was her side of how he's made her and Ryan Reynolds basically, it's affected their personal lives. It's affected their businesses, this negative press that they've received. And so that was sort of a complaint. And then she did it on New Year's Eve or something. And he sent an actual lawsuit with him and 9 other people. I think they actually sued the New York Times, something like that, because they wrote an article about Blake Lively's complaint. And they're suing the New York Times for $250 million. And it was interesting because I heard that while the New York Times says that they gave Justin Baldoni's team time to respond to the article that was posted, they actually told them about it after it was already posted. So his team never actually had an opportunity to have their voice be heard in what was released.
And those are the kind of things that courts care about. They don't care about your business taking a hit. They really don't. If it's not full-on defamation, they really don't. They're not going to care. They're going to care about the fairness of that.
Well, and if we can be truly honest here, I'm not really on either side because I'm sort of burnt out by all of it. But there really was no reason for her drinking brand, her like mixer, non-alcoholic mixer brand, and her hair care brand to even be involved in the promotion for this film. And for her to say that the negative press she received affected her personal brands is confusing to me because maybe she shouldn't have involved them in the first place. And I really believe a lot of the negative press came from her own actions, the way she was promoting it on her own, her interviews that were resurfacing. It just feels like it was a tidal wave of bad press, but it wasn't necessarily facilitated by his team.
I think something else that's going on for her is this veil has been lifted, that she and Ryan Reynolds are not this couple next door that have really cute, funny banter. You are a Nepo baby that has an ego the size of Jupiter. And sorry, as a society, worse off than they were in the Great Depression. So we're kind of done and don't care. We kind of just don't care about your horrific hairline that supposedly is pretty bad too. So throw that shiz away if you have it, unless you really like it. Let me know. But I've heard it's really bad.
I'd like to add that one of our icons that we do like, Martha Stewart, is actually a neighbor of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. And a clip of her saying that he's unfunny and too serious. And she...
Martha!
She makes a commentary on his personality and how he isn't what people think he is. And I think that says a lot because she's a straight shooter. She's going to say it like it is. She's not afraid and she won't kowtow to anyone. And for her to come out and say that.
She's been hit so much.
Yeah.
Her reputation has been hit time and time again to the point where she went to jail, basically taking the fall for really bad decisions of her team. What's that saying? Oh, you think you can hurt me or you think you can embarrass me? I've already been through XYZ. It's like that for Martha. Like, you think I care if you don't like me? I'm going to tell them the truth. I don't care. He's unfunny. She would say that too. Oh,
I encourage everyone to go look it up. It's pretty comical because you know she means it and she doesn't care that she's saying it.
Does not care. Doesn't care. Oh, I love it. The veil is lifted, I think, on a lot of things from, say, the last decade that we felt like were. And that kind of just brings me to, we don't need to go back a whole month or anything like that, but just to do our due diligence there's been so much that has happened since we last recorded. It really hasn't even been that long, only a few weeks. But in US time, that's 5 years. Well, I mean, just to like a brief bullet points, we've got drones in New Jersey that are now over London and I think some California sightings. There's all kinds of crazy stuff.
The stories creeped me out, so I stopped looking into it. I feel like it's similar to stories about UFOs. It scares me, so I have to turn a blind eye.
I would say that they are ours because I feel like our government would be up in arms if that was in other countries. I mean, we shot down a balloon that belonged to China that was like surveilling something. So, and there was a couple of balloons. Remember that a few years back? I know we don't really have a lot of mental space as Americans for these things anymore. But so I would say they're probably ours just for public unrest. They don't want to let us know, at least at this time. I don't know. Also, of the belief that many people that are seeing them, I think a couple things. One, some of them are seeing the same one, of course, like at the same time. So it makes it feel like there's a bunch, right? But then also there's got to be a lot of false reports too of people not exactly knowing what they're seeing and it's not the same thing, if that makes sense. So I think there's going to be a lot of mistaken ones because we know how that is around here. But I think for the ones that are real, it gets a little bit more intense because people are posting and posting and posting. And it's like, okay, there's 15 people from Toms River, New Jersey that are posting these things. Shout out JWoww and Snooky. You're the only reason I know where Toms River is.
Did they post it?
No, I just know where they live in New Jersey because I'm a freak. No, from their shows, I know that they Toms River or JWoww definitely did. And now they're neighbors, or it was the other way around. Somebody moved towards the other one. And anyways, yeah, Toms River is where one of them or both of them lived or live. So anyways, and they put that on their show. So I'm not trying to dox anybody. They put it out on their show, Toms River.
Kevin Jonas also lives in New Jersey.
Yes,
he's my favorite Joe Bro.
Joe Bro, that's where they're from. But yeah, apparently there's a lot of drone sightings there. And there's just even more stuff going on. There's even more. We could list. What other bullet points would we have just to acknowledge?
We had a bunch.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, well, one thing I really want to discuss is the Golden Globes, which aired last night. We're recording this on a Monday, the Monday before it's being released. And
yeah, let's get more relevant to the time topics. I love it.
I do want to touch on the wardrobe.
Ooh.
There was a trend I noticed. People like Selena Gomez, Zendaya, a few other people, they were really serving old Hollywood looks. And I love and appreciate that because I feel like it is so much more glamorous.
It is.
Those looks. And it's classic, it's timeless, just makes the event feel more special when they're so dressed up because when else would you have an opportunity to wear something like that? And I feel like so many people did such a good job on the gowns they chose, even the men. What's his name? The English Spider-Man, not Zendaya's boyfriend, the redhead that was with Emily Stone.
Yeah, you're talking about Andrew Garfield?
Emma Stone. I'm not like a huge Andrew Garfield fan, obviously, so I couldn't even think of his name. He had a really cool forest green tuxedo. And I just thought, I love when men go a little outside of the box beyond a white tuxedo. I think white tuxedos are tacky.
Without looking like it's something they got at Spencer's Gifts. And that's hard for men.
Right. Or without looking like they're from Dumb and Dumber with the blue or the orange.
Right. It starts to look like a costume for them. And that is a bummer for them if they're not like in a classic black suit or tux. Good point.
Even Timothy Chalamet, I didn't like the scarf, but he had rhinestones or something that were pretty subtle, but still noticeable on his suit or tuxedo, whatever it was. So I don't know. I just really appreciated this throwback to old Hollywood glamour. I thought it made the event a lot more appealing as someone that was consuming clips of it. I didn't actually watch the whole thing, but I probably spent as long as the event looking at clips from every little angle that was posted.
I will say within the next few months, we will also be having the Grammys and the Oscars. And you watch the difference between Golden Globes and Oscars versus the Grammys. The Grammys, red carpet, the outfits are horrible. Literally, the outfits are terrible. I'm so mean, but they're terrible.
One more thing I have to address that I noticed, there was a real return, a resurgence of extensions, like hair extensions. And I love hair extensions. I wear mine whenever I go out. If I have time to do my hair, I will clip them in. I'm specifically thinking of Nicole Kidman or Margaret. What is her last name? Do you know Taylor Swift's best friend that she collaborates with? I can't think of her name. Margaret Qualley?
Oh, Jack Antonoff. Yes.
Yeah, his wife. I didn't see him there, but she also had a head full of extensions. I loved the looks. It really added to the overall vibe, the overall aesthetic of all their outfits. I think they looked amazing.
Now, you know who her mom is, Andy McDowell.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say Andy McDowell has beautiful, thicker, curlier hair. So it's kind of funny to me that Margaret would even need extensions, but extensions are awesome to make your hair look really full. You don't even need them to make them look like longer, you know?
Right. And, it adds volume, it adds length if you want it. I think it was more so to facilitate the hairstyle that she went with for the event.
Sure.
Because there's no way that that was all her hair. I mean, she probably had, I don't know, I would say probably 15 clip-ins or something. I don't think they're permanent ones. But yeah, it was a full head of hair. I love it. I love that look.
Great point. And that sometimes you just need it almost like, hey, I'm not cold, but I'm going to throw on a blazer with this outfit to create more symmetry or whatever. It's kind of like that. Like, hey, I want to do braid type hairstyle. And like, you're going to need a lot of hair to be able to do that. And most people don't. And there's that thing where it's like, and I don't mean this in a mean way, guys, that, men don't always know when a woman is wearing or not wearing makeup. Like you ask them, is she wearing makeup? And we'll know she's got like a full face on. It's just not bright. And they'll be like, no makeup. It's that same thing.
They'll say they like the natural look. And it's like, or do you like the bare face look or do you like the natural makeup look? Because those are very different things.
They love the no makeup look and they just need to admit it. And that is fine, boys. Okay.
But they don't know the difference. That's the thing. What I'm rocking right now is the bare face look.
Same.
I look like the bear meme that you talked about earlier where he rolls out of the cave. That's how I came to this recording session.
I was playing with a new lip cream, Marajuku Juicy Lip Cream.
Wait, is that from Gwen Stefani?
It's called Maracuja. I'm saying it wrong. Are we getting that old where like the names don't roll off our tongue because we are not like in the space where we get to talk about these things all the time? Maracuja Juicy Lip Cream. They have.
Why did I think you said Harajuku? Why did I think that was Gwen Stefani? I know she has a makeup brand. I didn't know what it's called.
She does. And then the Harajuku was like the purses or whatever, Harajuku. But yeah, the Maracuja, they have a bunch of different lip products by Tarte called Maracuja, blah, blah, blah. So this is one of the lip creams and I really like it. I think it's in orchid or mulberry. And then the other one I have is an orchid, but it's not the lip cream. It's one of their juicy lips. I just call it Maracuja Juicy Lip. So anyways, I love that whole line. So I was playing with it before we recorded and I was like, oh, I like this. So I'll be getting more of those lip creams. That's for sure.
Did you watch any clips from the Golden Globes? Because our girl, Nikki Glaser, killed it.
She did really well. I saw the clip of her when she was making, I'll say like kind of doing her bit with Selena and Benny Blanco.
I figured that would show up on your timeline.
Now, my husband loves him some Selena. Okay. He thinks she is his hall pass, even though we don't have real hall passes. They're fictitious, but I love her too. She's our girlfriend. We call her our girlfriend. Oh, there's our girlfriend. Is our girlfriend in that? Like, we'll call her that. She looked so freaking stunning. Like you were saying about all of their looks. Are you kidding me? And then there's Benny sitting next to her. He must be a really nice guy because I'm sorry, he's not as hot as she is.
There's definitely a physical attractiveness imbalance there, but his heart must be beautiful. And I know he's very talented. And I think they've worked together in the past years ago. So they've known each other. They've had this friendship for a while. Not that I'm like a Selena Gomez super fan or anything. I just know from things that pop up, just from pop culture in general, that they've worked together. He's very successful in his own right. So he brings a lot to the table and he may not have the generic good looks of what someone would consider being attractive, but he obviously really loves and adores her. Even in that clip you're talking about where Nikki Glaser is talking to them, she says something like, oh, Selena Gomez is here. She's nominated for both of her shows or a show and a movie.
Oh, yeah.
And then she says, Benny Blanco's here and he's here because of that wish the genie gave him.
Yeah. But she did it with such class. She stayed funny without being really rude, corny.
She didn't rip anyone apart. And I think that when we had Joe Coy host, I think it was the Oscars or something a couple years ago, where he literally shredded every single person that he mentioned, it was a real turnoff. And I think it was a turnoff for the audience because it just felt mean. And then it was a turnoff for the people actually in attendance because let's face it, some of those people aren't used to being talked to that way. And I don't think a lot of them have a good sense of humor where they can laugh at themselves. So it was probably really hard. And I think Nikki really struck a really good balance between being funny and not being hurtful.
You're so right. They're not used to it. And it's a classy night, not a night at the Improv, even though, hey, I love the Improv, but that's where you can make fun of people.
One other thing I want to mention about her performance, it's not going to be all Golden Globes, but I did hear she was the first female solo host in Golden Globes history, which is an 80-year span of time. So that doesn't mean that I think 2 women have hosted before. Obviously, men have hosted, but never a single woman, like a singular female host. So I really love that she was able to do that. She was asked about that in an interview, though. And she said that it was a very cool opportunity, but she didn't want to say that it was unprecedented because like Whoopi Goldberg has hosted other award shows. Ellen DeGeneres has hosted other award shows. So it's been done, but never for the Golden Globes. But Golden Globes, I think I said Golden Globes.
I feel like that's something that so many people would not notice. So it is important to say and mark those little milestones, whether it's overall or just that award ceremony. It's important. I will say, though, one of my friends, who you know, was hooking up with a very well-known comedian in the New York scene who happened to be friends with Nikki. I will say, when my friend met Nikki, or when Nikki was around in the circles at one of the shows, I was told she was a bit of a beast. So she wasn't really cool to my friend, or
She's not a girl's girl.
I don't think she's a girl's girl. I don't think that she took the time to even really like speak to or get to know my friend. But people put guards up, I think, that are in the public eye anyways, because it's really hard for them to trust people. And could you imagine not knowing, like, is this person trying to be my friend because of who I am, that I have a little bit of a platform and notoriety? Or, so yes, I think basic pleasantries would be fine. But right, creating a relationship with somebody you don't even know at all probably isn't at the top of their list of things that are easy to do and deal with. So no, at a show, you're not going to be dealing with your longer time friends, newer girl that he's been seeing or whatever. But yeah, he was really cool. He was really nice. It didn't work out between them, but they hooked up off and on for a little while, but there were never anything.
I feel like we both have friends that hook up with comics because I have a friend that's hooked up with you, very big names. And I wonder if they know some of the same people. But I want to give Nikki the benefit of the doubt because of what you explained, but also because we all have bad days. And I'm sure people have met me where, maybe it wasn't a good day, or maybe I just was preoccupied by something else and didn't come across as friendly as I could be. And so I don't want to judge her based on that singular meeting, but it doesn't mean that she's not a B. But I don't know. I think let's give her the benefit of the doubt in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a whole nother thing to it too, but you and I we'll have to chat about that one alone because I'm not about to say who it was.
I have a feeling I know which friend it is.
Yeah, you do, because I said New York, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, this was such a great catch up, and I'm so glad to be back on the journal entries road.
I missed it.
Me too.
I miss you guys. I missed talking to Paige because I feel like we didn't want to chat too much about everything that was going on because we never wanted to feel artificial or pre-planned when we have a journal entry. So I'm glad we're back to it.
Yeah, I think we really have our routine down with it. You probably felt like some of the other episodes are not totally different, but just a little bit of different formats or the way topics or things were presented. And we just found that this way, which by the way is just a lot more loosey-goosey and less produced.
Train of thought, train of consciousness.
It really is. It's exactly how we chat on the phone. Like literally the jumping of all the topics from Golden Globes to drones. That is us and our conversations. I love it. Well, this is where we'll have to wrap it up for this episode. Thanks so much for listening. We're really excited to announce to you that now that it's 2025, we are going to be moving towards 4 episodes of these a week, but 2 of them are going to be on Patreon or Apple Sub only. So make sure you subscribe. Thank you to those of you who are already subscribed. You will get your 2 special subscription episodes, but we are going to be releasing 2 free episodes, and we hope you guys continue to like them.
Looking forward to a happy 2025.
Happy 2025 indeed. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
The search for truth never ends. Introducing June's Journey, a hidden object mobile game with a captivating story. Connect with friends, explore the roaring 20s, and enjoy thrilling activities and challenges while supporting environmental causes. After 7 years, the adventure continues with our immersive travels feature. Explore distant cultures and engage in exciting experiences. There's always something new to discover. Are you ready? Download June's Journey now on Android or iOS.
Let Weight Loss Through Hers give you something to be excited about for 2025. You can spend the new year in control of your weight by losing up to an average of 9 pounds in your first month. Yes, those numbers are based on data by real Hers customers that have reported based on their personalized, compounded GLP-1 treatment plans. Hers is transforming women's healthcare by providing access to affordable weight loss treatment plans delivered straight to your door if prescribed. Hers also offers a holistic weight loss program with personalized solutions, including compounded GLP-1 weekly injections, which feature the same active ingredients as Ozempic and Wegovy, or other oral medication kits. After submitting an online intake form, a licensed medical provider will determine what plan is best for you. If prescribed, your program includes medication, ongoing care, and online support, all at one low cost. With that, weight loss plans are more affordable through Hers, with compound GLP-1 injections starting at $165 a month with a 12-month plan paid upfront for new subscribers, no hidden fees, and no membership fees. So if you've been struggling with your weight loss journey, it's time you find the best option that works for you through Hers. Start your initial free online visit today at forhers.com/diaries. That's forhers.com/diaries for your personalized weight loss treatment options. forhers.com/diaries. Hers weight loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions apply. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded. Actual price depends on product and planned purchased.
Okay, we all know how this goes. New Year's resolutions, right? Every year we make grand plans to be better versions of ourselves, work out more, eat healthier, read more books. But then comes the reality. You know, dragging yourself out of bed at 6 a.m. when it's still pitch black outside, only to hit snooze 5, maybe 8 more times. Trust me, I've been there. But you know what's different? The resolutions that stick are the ones that are automatic, like investing with Acorns. Today's episode is sponsored by Acorns. Acorns rounds up your everyday purchases to the nearest dollar and invests that change for you effortlessly. It's like setting yourself up for success without the effort. That's what Acorns does for your financial future. It's one small change that makes a difference. Acorns makes it easy to start automatically saving and investing so your money has a chance to grow for you, your kids, and your retirement. You don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that fits you and your money goals. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you invest with the spare money you've got right now. It lets you invest automatically by rounding up your everyday purchases and putting that change to work. It's a simple way to keep building toward your financial goals without extra effort. And for me, it's been a great addition to my routine, and it might be worth checking out if you're looking for an easy way to get started. Head to acorns.com/diaries or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC and SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/diaries.
One of the not so secrets of celebrities and influencers is that so many of them have had lipo. I'm thinking of one right now that I was just listening to on a podcast talk about their experience getting lipo, and they documented it on reality TV. Look, No one has the perfect body, but lipo has changed, and Sonobello has been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting these beautiful natural outcomes for each person. Sonobello is offering you, our listeners, their best deal. You're now included in being able to access their New Year's savings event, but appointments are limited. Sonobello doctors are masters in microfat laser removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, that fat is gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are important. Keep doing that. But if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sonobello. Remember, you can access their New Year's savings event by scheduling your free consultation now at sonobello.com/diaries. That's Sono, BELLO.com/diaries.